My name's Ashley, and today I am doing a live recovery support online support group about how to rewrite your addiction story. Just to let you know a little bit about me, my name's Ashley Bloxham. I'm a therapist. I've worked with all different kinds of issues, but I specialise in addiction and I have a really keen interest in trauma. I've also overcame addiction. I think that qualifies as the most to be talking about this. And I've also experienced what it's like when loved ones are struggling with addiction. And I've studied it immensely. So, all around picture of addiction, I'm here to support. So, today's topic that I'm going to be speaking about is hello, Jason, who's just joined. Thanks, by the way, for the compliment. So today's story is based off a quote by C.S. Lewis, which says, "You can't go back and change your past, but you can change your ending." And I think that's one of the things when we're struggling with addiction, we often feel like we're stuck, things can't change. And I'm just going to catch up on the comments in a little bit, by the way, I'm not ignoring you. We feel like we can't change the future, but actually we can. And the brilliant thing is that every day we'll get that opportunity to change into a different life, one that we're proud of and one that we enjoy. I think that's one of the key things when we're struggling in addiction. There's some level of non-enjoyment probably before, and certainly when you feel like you're struggling in addiction. So how might we do this? Think about all the things that are in your life that you're not happy about and write it down, take stock of it, and think about, okay, if I was going to have a different life, what would that look like? And you can sit there and write all of that down. And then what you can do is you can flip the script, literally. Everything that you've wrote on that list that you're not happy with, change it. So if you're feeling isolated, write the word connection. If you're feeling like you're bored, write the word fun. Just write it, so the opposite word, and then think about strategically how can you achieve these different things. So connection might look like going to groups, coming on here, chatting to people, doing something you're interested in, but just flip the script, because we really do have the power to flip the script every single day. We'll have the opportunity. We'll have the opportunity to choose connection over isolation, to choose calm over chaos. And it doesn't look like rewriting your whole life and stepping into that in day one, but it looks like taking little incremental steps to get to where you want to be. And the brilliant thing is your brain's already rewiring when we're coming out of addiction. So you get to literally rewire it into a whole new life. And neuroplasticity is literally our identity. I'm going to say what people are saying. Yeah, my voice is getting a little bit better. I've been asleep all day pretty much. Asleep and miserable has been the theme. I just thought I'd come on and honour me little shift that I do on here. Oh, thanks, Jason. Yeah, I've been so unwell. It's just one of them things though, isn't it? I literally think if I can get over addiction and childbirth, I can handle a little common cold. Yeah, so let's think about another way that we can think about what would we want that new life to look like that we're rewriting. And there's a little technique that I do in counselling, which is called the deathbed, the deathbed technique, and it sounds a bit grim. But what I do is I get clients to imagine they're on the deathbed and they've lived a really lovely life and they're looking back on it, and hopefully you're at a ripe old age of frail as F. And you're sitting there looking back on your life and just thinking, think about what would you have wanted to achieve in that. So for me, I wanted to be an author. So I've actually sat down and wrote a book. Whether it gets published or not is fine, but at least I've done it. So it's about thinking about what are the things that you would have wanted to achieve whilst you're on your deathbed looking back. And it helps you give perspective on stuff, because quite a lot of the stuff that I think is really important actually isn't. It's just a little moment in a long life that we're living, which in the scheme of things isn't actually that long after all. So it's just really good to kind of get that bird's eye view of what's going on in your life. So you can literally think about what are the things I would want to achieve. So is it having a family? Is it having loved ones around your deathbed? That is one of the most common things that people talk about. There's a book about, I can't remember who the author is, but it talks about when it interviewed loads of cancer patients, and it was saying about what is the regrets that they have when they're in palliative care, and a lot of it is around connection. So just sit there and think about what is important, what would I have wanted to achieve, and then to bring it back to the present moment, what's the little steps that I can start doing to actively get me towards them goals. And I'd say a lot of the things that you would think about in your deathbed wouldn't be something where I really regret trying to do something. Like I don't think you would regret that. I think you would more likely regret the things that you didn't try and the things that you didn't do. You remind me of home. I'll take that as a compliment. I hope you're not trying to say that I'm going to be in your home, though. I'm only 36. I'm 36 as well, Jason. Flirty 30s. Oh, has anybody got any questions then? Because I'm only staying on for a little bit tonight, but I'll answer any questions that people have got. Mohammed, I'm in a state of numbness and shock. 5 months is good to be clean, but the things I'm realizing is too shocking. I can't talk to anyone, and I can't look at someone's eyes. Too many things I've destroyed. The only thought I have is I will fix it. Yeah, just thinking about what you can do in the future. Exactly the quote I said in the beginning is you can't go back and change your past, but you can start today to change your future. And I think a lot of that is forgiving yourself for things that have happened. We're all human, we're all making mistakes. So it's about forgiving yourself for what you've done and saying, okay, well, I've got this new conscious awareness. Like, how am I going to do differently moving forward? Mohammed, I realise you haven't replied to my email though. So I don't know if you want to send us another email to get a one-to-one booked. That might be helpful, because I'm more than happy to do that. You're July 1989. I'm an 80s girl as well, 89, March. Little spring baby. But yeah, I think it's really hard when the things that we do when we're just, I'm going to say just human, because like we can blame it on addiction, but actually we all make mistakes, we really do, and it can be really hard to come to terms with that, but we can't berate an earlier version of ourselves. Like, you're not that version today. The fact that you're sitting there thinking, I wish I hadn't have done that, that shows you've got a conscience, and that's something to be proud of. Not everybody has a conscience, not everybody acts consciously aware. And it's really painful when we all of a sudden become very aware of what we've done in the past, or maybe we're aware when it's happening, but we're numbing it with alcohol or drugs or escapism, whether that's porn, gambling, whatever, or just even just social media, whatever it is. But when we become consciously aware, it's almost like that comes screaming into our vision and we can't ignore it, and it's really difficult to not sit there and shame ourselves, but actually it's not helping anything. The fact that you're sitting there with it and your conscience shows that you've got a conscience, it shows you've got a big heart, and it shows that you're human and you've made mistakes, and the best thing we can do is forgive ourselves for that. You're not that person, because if you were that person, you'd still be doing the same thing. And maybe you're somebody who's listening who is doing something repeatedly that they're not happy with. But you get to choose to be different. Like I say, you can't change your past, but you can change your future. You get to sit here and decide that actually I'm realising I'm really not happy with this version of myself and the behaviours that go along with that. So I'm going to proactively do something different. And it's about giving yourself praise in that. Not everybody sits there and says, I'm not happy with the things I've done in the past. Like, not many people do that. It's much easier to bury your head in the sand, to continue with the addiction, or to just continue blaming other people. But if we're brave enough to remove the safety net, which is often addiction, and say, okay, I'm going to sit with this, I'm going to sit with the emotions, and I'm going to look at where I went wrong, I'm going to look at what's mine to carry and what's mine not to let go of, and I'm going to choose to do differently. That's so brave. Mohammed, I will send it today. Yeah, please do. And my son's back at school next week, so I'm a lot more free. I can do a one-to-one next week if you're free. Jason, sometimes I come here and say nothing. Well, I'm glad that you come along. It's nice. I keep seeing your face pop up. It's nice when we have just to have little regulars. I'll be honest with you, Jason, and this is just me being real because I like to keep it real. The only thing is, I'm not single, like, and one of the things is sometimes when you're saying compliments, which is nice as they are, I feel a little bit uncomfortable because I feel like for me, I'm very it's very important for me just to be like my moral compass is something that I'm like very attuned with, and integrity. So I kind of don't know what to say when you're saying nice things to us. It's nice to hear nice compliments, but I also feel a bit like I'm doing something wrong. Not something wrong, but yeah, I just feel uncomfortable. I think that's the best way to describe it. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say that because I think it's important to be honest and for everyone just to say how you feel. But I do appreciate it, Jason. Right, Mohammed, I was a great human being, good grades on my early age, good reputation, so religious. Everybody in my town used to say that I will be someone in the future. I don't know how I get there. Shit. Do you know what it is, Mohammed? That sounds like a lot of pressure. If somebody's telling us that we're a great human being, that you've got good grades out, I'm just speaking from personal experience as well. I was really tried hard and I've got a distinction in my masters. I was just getting stupidly high grades and I worked hard for it, but I felt like there was this pressure to always just be this perfect human being, and that's really hard. And I don't think there's one single thing that led to my addiction, but I think that there's multiple things, and I think one of them was the pressure on myself to be this perfect person. And I think that it was really difficult to constantly strive to be perfect. So when you're saying everyone used to think that you were going to be something, like I felt that I needed to be something and do something great, and that was so much pressure to constantly be feeling like I've got to do better, because if you've got to be the best, there's no room for being human and for making mistakes. And it's almost like you don't really, I don't know if this was your experience, Mohammed, but my experience was that I always felt like if I wasn't doing it absolutely perfectly, I was failing. And even when I did it perfectly, it was just a momentary, fleeting feeling of I did great, but then I was on to the next thing that I had to do. And it was just this constant feeling of relief, oh, I finally did it perfect, or the majority of the time, like I'm failing and I'm just having to strive. And it was just so much pressure. And I think, yeah. And just because maybe it's just had to be a reset, Mohammed. Maybe it's about sitting and saying, okay, well, I'm not where I used to think I was, but actually if I'm good, this is a reset button, and maybe it's about sitting there, like I said, and thinking about what can you do differently, like how can you create a new life that's not built on huge expectation. One of the things with addiction for me is I was so humbled, and that was really hard. But actually when I got over the shame, I thought to myself, like, people already think nothing of us now, like the illusion's been shattered, everybody knows I'm not perfect. So, and everybody actually thinks that I'm this rubbish person who's a letdown. I was being accused by somebody of still being an addict 2 years after I was even an addict. I was called a narcissist and everything. So I was like, okay, the cat's out the bag, I'm not perfect. Everybody knows I'm not perfect. People think that I'm worse than what I am. So now I get to do things for me, and I get to think about what do I enjoy, what do I want, not this expectation, because all of a sudden, when you go through addiction and everybody knows, the bar's very low. So that's a much better place to be, or what at least it was for me, is like I'm not letting anyone down, I'm not letting myself down. Everything after addiction is a win. So everything in recovery, you're winning. The bar is low. And this is a much more comfortable feeling than having this stupidly high bar that I was never ever going to reach. And every time I did reach, it just got raised higher. So I hope that made sense. I don't know, what's your thoughts on that though, Mohammed? Because a lot of that's my personal viewpoint and experience, and I get everybody else's is different. Libida, stand up. Oh, I can barely sit up. I'm so unwell. I'm drinking like honey lemon tea, and I'm just hoping for the best here, but sitting up is hard enough. I've been lying in bed all day, just sleeping. So if anyone's got any questions around mental health or addiction, please ask. If not, I'm going to go quite soon. Just let you know I'm a therapist, so if there's anything that anyone wants some support on, I'm happy to help. But if there's nothing, I'm just going to call it quits. But yeah. Right, well, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I know this has only been a very short one, but honestly, this is like, today has been a slog. I just wanted to show my face and honor my little commitments, but I'll be back and hopefully feeling a bit better and have a lot more chat for you guys on Monday at 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. GMT time. But thanks for everybody who's showing up, and I'll see you soon. Bye.